And now, talking from colleges to the pros, football and other lesser sports, it's time for Thrasher Sports with Urb Thrasher and Radical Russ.
Hey guys, what's going on out there in the world? Urb Thrasher here with Radical Russ. Russ, looking forward to another great night talking about sports and weed.
Yeah, this weekend in college football was plenty of upsets for us to get to, and of course the baseball playoffs are going on.
Oh man, right now a big game going on, Game 4 in Los Angeles, and the Dodgers are losing to the St. Louis Cardinals 4-2. And it looks like there's 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th inning, so time is running out for the Dodgers to win Game 4.
Big shame there. Also, we've got NFL coverage for you, some last-second heroics from Tom Brady to talk about, as well as our scores from our 420 Radio Fantasy Football League, where Urb Thrasher's moving on up.
Man, I had a big win, finally made some moves. I had drafted Nick Foles from Philadelphia, in not hopes, but just thinking that maybe Vic might go down, and he was hurt this week. They put him in. I scored some big points, and I also shifted a couple players around because it was time for them to get fired for a week. You know, they weren't putting up, dude. Sometimes you got to put up or shut up. And so, you know, I benched them, and finally had a big win. But as you said, in the NFL, huge week. Tom Brady did electrify as always.
Yeah, and also we've got a little behind-the-scenes talk about the University of Alabama. Urb gave me a great tip on a story out there that we reported in the rant today on the Russ Belville Show. We'll talk a little bit about that and what it's like growing up in Alabama, being a hot smoker out there. I know we got some fans out there in the crowd from Alabama.
Yeah, man, it's it's just another state in a lot of respects, but man, they have certain states. I think what's going on, Russ, in my opinion these days, is certain states have gotten away with so much, and other states had stopped, had put a halt to a lot of this in the past, and now it's time for these states that have gotten away with a lot of this stuff to start getting called out on it.
Yeah, also we want to send a big shout out to our latest sponsor here at Urb Thrasher Flower Hour, Thrasher Sports, and of course 420 Radio, the Cannabis Outreach Collective. You'll be hearing their ad in just a little bit as well, but great news, and man, spreading the information and getting that information out for the people here in Oregon.
Yeah, great folks. They're out of Gladstone, Oregon, which is basically Portland, spreading the education, helping a lot of patients in the cancer world, finding doctors, spreading education, and kind of helping with medicine. So doing good things over there.
All right, we'll take a quick break, and when we come back from the break, we will be talking football, both pro and college. You're listening to Thrasher Sports.
Come back.
Cannabis Outreach Collective is an alternative health and wellness option located in Gladstone, Oregon, that serves patients in the Portland area and beyond. We are a full-service alternative health and wellness collective accommodating patients with natural, organic, holistic, and homeopathic remedies, nutritional guidance, advice, education, and medical cannabis, fully in accordance with Oregon OMMP law. You can find out more about Cannabis Outreach Collective on Facebook at COC503 or by emailing cannabisoutreachcollective503@gmail.com or by telephone at 503-853-1319. Check out our menu on Weed Maps and visit Cannabis Outreach Collective today. Hey tokers and tokettes, Radical Russ here to introduce you to my friend Matt and all the staff at Lush LED Lighting. Growing plants indoors can be a rewarding hobby, but electricity bills can go through the roof. Then you have to cool down all those big hot lights. It can drive a grower insane. With Lush LED Lighting, you can solve many of these issues and double your rewards. If you thought LEDs were meet the tech of today, Matt and his scientists have developed the perfect light for flowering plants with far less cost and heat. And the results? Let's just say I appear at a lot of events with the masters of indoor horticulture, and the harvests I saw from Lush LED Lighting were big, tight, sticky, and very effective. Check out LushLEDlighting.com right now and tell them Radical Russ sent you. Double your rewards and lower your expenses with Lush LED Lighting.
Welcome back to Thrasher Sports. That's the Lord Weird Slow Fag.
Gotta love those guys, man. I mean, come on. They're actually in the studio right now working on a brand new album. They're signed to Metal Blade Records, so hopefully they'll have something new, and we'll get it to you on the Urb Thrasher Flower Hour on Friday nights.
All right. So we wanted to talk a little football because that, of course, is a large reason why we're here. We're big fans of football here at 420 Radio and Thrasher Sports, and I don't know, it depends on what you want to start with, college or pro.
Yeah, let's talk about some college, man.
All
I
right.
mean, so the top 25 polls are out, and one thing that I've been noticing a little bit is I think Oregon is. I wouldn't be surprised here pretty soon if Oregon would jump Alabama.
Really?
And get that number one. Yeah, because the thing is Alabama really doesn't play a meaningful game until November 9th, and that's LSU, which is total class game. I think everyone in the nation knows that that's a class game. But Oregon, with beating Washington, who was ranked coming up, and we've got Stanford.
Yeah,
That's going to be a huge game.
and UCLA before
and you
that.
got UCLA, and so I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I can already see some of the college pundits talking about this, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Oregon jump. But anyways, usual suspects, Clemson and Florida State are up tops. But UCLA, as you mentioned, that's a team that I've had my eye on for a while.
Yeah, rising up all the way to number 9 in the AP, number 10 in the USA Today poll. And I got to check and see if Owa Odijozua is still playing for UCLA. He's a
That's right.
guy I kind of know. Got
I
to see him when
totally
he played
remember
here
that.
in Oregon.
But
He was a high school player.
Anthony Johnson's got to be fired up sitting at 6-0 Missouri.
Yeah, 6-0 Missouri and 6-0 Chiefs too.
Well, he is, but see, he's leading the SEC East by 2 games right now.
Wow.
Florida and Georgia both have 2 losses, and you got Missouri sitting there at no losses. So shout out to Anthony Johnson in Missouri, looking really good.
Yeah, there was this weekend in college football we had Stanford, of course, losing to Utah, just a few miles away from where Boise State was creaming Utah State.
Huge
talk about that
upset.
there.
Stanford. You know what? I really I wouldn't throw too much into that though, because if you think back the week before, Washington and Stanford had a matchup that was just a total beast of a game. These dudes were throwing punches all the way, and Stanford ended up winning that game. But it took everything out of both of them. And then if you look at this weekend, Washington and Stanford both lose. And it was because that week before they played such a huge game. You can only get up 3 or 4 times a year for big games, really.
Yeah. So they go into Utah, which is not an easy place to play. A little bit of elevation.
That's
when
right.
you get out there. Washington, of course, lost at home to the Oregon Ducks, and it was tied in the first quarter, and then Oregon just puts the thing is like, if you're going to play Oregon, you can't have a turnover. You've got to match them score
Yeah, you
for
gotta
score.
score.
It's got to
Yeah.
be like that the game in the NFL, the Cowboys and the Broncos played the other day.
That's
When it's
right.
51-48. You gotta play that kind of game.
Yeah, it came down to the normal Romo interception there. He's the one that always makes the mistake. Peyton doesn't make the mistake. Denver ended up winning that shootout. But Russ is right. You have to score to hang with Oregon, because Oregon, they're not a team. They're a machine. That's the only word you can use for them. I mean, they are a programmed machine, and they're just going to throw it and run it and just score it down your throats every time.
Yeah, so you get Stanford. That's the big upset, of course. Missouri against Georgia, number 25 against number 7, beating Georgia at home and soundly, 41-26. Is it really fair to even call this an upset anymore? Missouri looks bad.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Missouri's actually turning heads now. Now it's like, whoa, because Georgia, even with some of the injuries that they've had, they still have a Heisman quarterback right now. Mm-hmm. He's supposedly the best quarterback in the freaking league, and so they still got players. We're still talking about Georgia, and so to me, Missouri is looking strong. And really, all they have to do right now is beat either Florida or South Carolina, I think, in these upcoming games. And dude, they're going to be looking at SEC championship in Atlanta.
Yeah. We also had Texas A&M sitting at number 9 when they played, and going all the way to the end there with Ole Miss, 41-38.
Yeah, it was a huge game, but Johnny Manziel took it on. Halftime, it was actually close, and then Manziel came out and made Heisman-esque plays. I actually went into that game I went into that morning. I didn't know about the Heisman, and after the Bama game, I thought Mariota from Oregon would get the Heisman. And then after the Oregon game, I thought Mariota from Oregon would get the Heisman. And then after the Texas A&M game, changed it. I was going back to Manziel because he made some outrageous plays, and he is by far the best player in the league. Mariota is part of a machine. Manziel is the best player in the league.
Oh, you heard it here first. Mariota from Oregon, a plug-in cog in the Oregon machine.
Well, I don't want to say that.
Manziel.
I don't want to say that.
Right.
Well, I see what you're saying, and I can see where you can turn that.
That's like, if you take Mariota, if you just swapped the two quarterbacks, would Oregon be a better team with Manziel than it is with Mariota?
Oh, that's, yeah, okay. I mean, I don't know how to answer that. But unfortunately, right now, Mariota is in a machine, and Manziel isn't. And so you see more of Manziel's talents. Manziel has more single perfect plays than Mariota would. So there's the default right there.
All right. Well, we had number 10 LSU beat Florida at home. Number 11 UCLA cruised against Cal. And then the next big upset was Texas at home beating Oklahoma, number 12 Oklahoma, by 16 points in the Red River rivalry.
Yeah, everyone had Texas counted out, really figured Mac Brown would lose this game and go on and fold. And Texas had another plan, went out, played great football. Actually, the entire game basically came out and punched Oklahoma from the start and led the whole game, ended up having a big win. And now no one knows if Mac Brown's going to leave or not.
Number 14, South Carolina beats up on Arkansas 52-7. Is Arkansas that bad, or is South Carolina that good?
Oh, man, it's really tough. We'll find out this week because that is who the number one team in the nation, Alabama Crimson Tide, play, is the Arkansas Razorbacks. And I'm expecting just another freaking ass-whipping pig suey.
You called it last week about Baylor. Watch out for Baylor. They're sitting at 5-0 after a 35-25
I'm telling you, that's the best team
State.
in Texas. I think they would beat Texas A&M if they went matchup to matchup. They're putting up about 40 to 50 points a game, and I don't see them losing.
Penn State pulls off a thriller at home in overtime over Michigan, number 18, 43-40.
What a game, man. I mean, these guys punched it out, and as Russ said, in overtime, came down to the kickers, Russ. These freaking kickers miss. This kicker, miss. Do it again. Kicker, miss. This kicker, miss. They had to win it because in the third overtime in college football, in the rules, the kickers aren't allowed to come out anymore. Now you have to run 2-point conversions. And so, who was it again? Penn State. Michigan missed their touchdown. They couldn't kick a field goal, so they had to go for it on fourth down. Missed it. Penn State ended up scoring.
Wow.
Win it by 3.
And not a single Boise State kicker was involved.
That's right.
Wow.
There you go.
Number 19 Northwestern falls at Wisconsin 35-6. Does this mean Northwestern was overrated?
I don't think so. I look at this as they gave it their all against Ohio State. It's the same thing I mentioned with Stanford and Washington. Sometimes these games, you could, in college football, and this is why we talk about sometimes you put an Eastern Tennessee or an Eastern Oregon on your schedule, because these kids, the natural idea, rule of thumb, is you can only get up for 4 big games a year. And it takes a lot out of a team. You're not getting paid in college football, all right?
Well, unless
you're going to class on Monday morning and having to do your freaking homework, man. You know, when you're in the NFL, you're going to a freaking bar after the game or to a strip joint, and you're laying down some G's. And so there's just a whole different attitude.
All right.
I just made that up.
I like that. That's wonderful. Texas Tech wins 42-35 over Iowa State. Northern Illinois 27-20 against Akron. And then Virginia Tech holds on 19-9 against Pittsburgh. That's your top 25.
Not surprised about Akron. Don't be surprised about them. They're actually Ohio team. A lot of great football teams in Ohio. And their head coach, Terry Bowden.
Ah, that's right. Now, looking at the rankings, of course, we're still waiting for the first BCS to come out, but now we've got AP Top 25 and USA Today poll. No differences in the top 5, but interesting, in the USA Today poll, Clemson got a first-place vote.
They're doing great, man. They're playing great. They've actually had some big wins. They have a Heisman quarterback right now, and so looking big things out of Clemson, actually.
We get LSU, Texas A&M, and Louisville in the AP Top 25 for the next 3 slots. Flip those over. Louisville, Texas A&M, and LSU in USA Today. And then UCLA, Miami, and South Carolina. South Carolina, UCLA, and Miami. So they have the same top 12, but there's a little shakeup once you get below 5.
Yeah, there is a shakeup in there. One thing I've looking deep down into it, I'm noticing Auburn's creeping up in there now.
Yeah,
Auburn's sitting at 5-1. Actually had a couple big wins here lately, and they fired their coach, and they actually going into College Station this weekend to play Johnny football in Texas A&M. So it'll be a great game to find out actually about Auburn and see what Johnny Manziel can do.
Looking at the potential BCS busters, Northern Illinois sitting at number 23 with a 6-0 record, and Fresno State out of the Mountain West is at 17th with a 5-0 record. They're 19th in the USA Today poll, and Northern Illinois is 23rd in that poll as well.
I'm not noticing the blue field in this.
Boise State got 3 votes in the USA Today poll, so things are not as bad as they have been. Finally getting votes again.
There you go.
All right, so there's a look at Thrasher Sports on the college level, and we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll hit the pros. We'll talk a little bit about the baseball playoffs that are going on, and when we come back, I've also got a special video.
Nice. Looking forward to it.
That will rock your socks off.
Load those bowls, folks.
I'm a reefer smoking man.
Wood Pipe Smoke Shop and Speakeasy is your source for cannabis community gear in southern Wisconsin. Owners Brian and Tammy Wood are located in Kendall, just outside of Madison, and they've got everything for the smoking enthusiast, including a full assortment of pipes, water pipes, hookahs, bubblers, one-hitters, and so much more. They're open noon to 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday and can help you with your detoxification therapies as well. Call 608-466-7473 or email woodpipes@yahoo.com for more information. That's 608-466-7473 or email woodpipes@yahoo.com. And as always, go Pack Go.
Smoking man.
Welcome back to Thrasher Sports, everybody. It's 18 after the hour. And you know, Urb Thrasher Flower Hour on Friday nights, we do a lot of rock and a little bit of sports. Here on Thrasher Sports, we do a lot of sports and a little bit of rock. That's some Sun Gods in Exile with Smoke and Fire. What can you tell us about them, Urb?
They actually broke up about a year ago, but within the last month, these guys have gotten back together. And they're still on Small Stone Records, and they are actually fired up, dude. I'm loving the enthusiasm coming out of their Facebook page. So you guys go friend them and check them out. Real southern rock and roll kind of sound. Definitely one of my favorite bands on the Small Stone Records label.
All right, before we get back to the sports, I promised a surprise for Urb, a video that I wanted to show that was forwarded to me in my Twitter account of an 11-year-old girl at her organ recital. She's at her organ recital.
All right, okay.
The drum track is tracked. Everything else is this little girl playing organ. right hand is handling the guitar line, left hand is handling some of the keyboard, and she's actually doing the bass lines with her feet down there on the organ pedals.
Absolutely outstanding. I mean, how can you even come up with that?
And at the end of the entire video, she stands up. She's wearing an old school Rush T-shirt, and you can tell like she's doing some organ recital at some staid, laid back, kind of well, not laid back, but uptight parents kind of thing. Because at the end of it, like she's like da 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 da. The end of the song, and there's like.
I don't even know how to act.
Like, what the hell's that?
Oh, she's such a sweetie, but I don't know about the song.
Yeah, she takes a big bow, walks home. It's great. So I just had to share that.
Shout out to that girl, man. That's big time stuff. Update
awesome.
on the baseball game right now. Dodgers are still down 4-2. Bottom of the 9th inning with no outs. And this is it. So Andre Ethier is up to bat, and we'll see what happens.
All right. So let's get into some NFL here on Thrasher Sports. We've been taking a look at the games from last weekend, and I got to tell you that game in the Patriots game, Saints-Patriots game, what an ending to that one.
Man, it was amazing because, it was like they threw that Brady threw an interception like in
2 minutes to go or something.
Yeah, and you thought it was over at that point. But you should know, because if Tom Brady's going to get the ball back, you just got to know. And then he took it down, and he was so genius with the way he had ball management and time management. And when he got it down to like, what was it, the 14, 15-yard line?
Yeah.
And that's one play to him. To him, that's nothing. And, man, he threw it to some back of the corner who no one's expecting, and amazing stuff.
Yeah, and another on the other side of from bad to worse, the Giants fall to 0-6
I don't
from
even
the
know what to
Thursday
say
night
about
game.
that team, man.
I'm loving it from a Schadenfreude's point of view because of the Giants knocking the Packers out of the playoffs the last 2 times they've met. But wow, 0-6.
I mean, what can you say? I mean, Tom Coughlin, he's got to be just freaking out. I mean, it's like the New York Giants. They're just not used to this. And then you got Eli Manning over there, who he's actually always probably used to winning also. And so Chicago Bears actually hurt Green Bay Packers by winning that game.
Yeah.
But it's like the Giants. I don't see them coming out. I thought they would turn it around, but I don't see it anymore.
Yeah, it's looking pretty bad for the G-men. Packers win their game against the Ravens 19-17, but they lose. They lose a couple of big receivers and defensive player. They've been going out on the waiver wires trying to pick some practice squad players up for backup in the wide receiver corps. So we'll see how that turns out.
Was a silver lining in the Packers, though, is you guys have rushed for over 100 yards last 3 out of 4 games.
And 99 in the other game.
And Eddie Lacy is a big part of that. And let me tell you something. He is going to get better. He's just warming up. He's just like, he don't even know how to act right now.
Yeah.
Once he figures out how to act, you guys are going to look into adding many yards to that.
I certainly hope so. There's a couple of plays there where he made some players whiff. It was very nice to watch. There are some other great games, or terrible games, depending on how you're looking at it. The Texans, Matt Schaub goes out after setting the NFL record of 4 games with a pick six in a row, and his replacement comes in and throws a pick six.
Man, Texas, if you talk about one problem, they've got 2 problems. I mean, it's just bad in Texas. I don't know what they're going to do. They just have to fight it out. I would actually put Schaub back in and tell him that, dude, this is your year. I don't care what they're saying on ESPN. This is your year. You could either save your job now with the rest of these games and get out there and get it out of your head, or tell me now and I will get somebody else in. But I would put Schaub back in. He's not a bad, we've seen it many times, Russ. The professional leagues are brutal in a lot of ways, man, and there's slumps. It's not just baseball. Players have slumps, and I've seen players go down, and I've seen players come up. And so hold your head up, bro.
There you go. All right, and another game, talking about the other teams that are still on the schneid, the Buccaneers lost at home, 0-5 now. The Eagles with Nick Foles come in, threw what, 2-3 touchdowns?
He did
4?
throw 2-3 touchdowns. He threw 2 touchdowns, and he rushed for a touchdown. And so it was real huge. The Eagles, big win for them. I don't know what that means for Vic. I don't know if he'll be back this week or if he's still hurt. I definitely have to figure out from a fantasy point of view. But, man, I think the Chiefs have to be mentioned here, sitting at 6-0, beating a division rival in the Oakland Raiders, but just no one ever expected 6-0.
What were they? They had 2 wins last year, wasn't it?
2 wins last year. But
amazing.
They were one of those teams where they were in every game.
Yeah.
You know, even that they had only 2 wins, they were in every game, and you just knew. And then once they got Andy Reid, who is a veteran coach, doesn't have any rings, but he has been to a Super Bowl before.
That's right. And Chiefs go up to 6-0, tied at the top of the ranks in their division and their conference with the Denver Broncos at 6-0, who were held to a low of 35 points by the 0-6 Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jacksonville's going to win. They're going to beat somebody. It's a matter of time, but they do suck. Goodness gracious, they suck.
There is a suckage going on. Now, interesting, on Sunday night, the team from Washington played the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys ended up winning 31-16, but it was notable for, at halftime, Bob Costas on the national TV delving into the whole team name mascot controversy over the Washington Redskins.
Well, I think it's I haven't even heard about the game. All I've heard about is that, basically. And for the people who are for this name change, it was a huge win, that game, because still to this day that's all it's talked about. Even Dave Brocky, who's lead singer of GWAR, is very outspoken, huge Washington Redskins fan, who has been guests on the Dan Patrick Show and ESPN, so he knows what he's talking about in sports. But he has come out also and had this huge publication about changing the name. So everyone is kind of coming out these days about it.
Yeah, and I had mentioned, I think on a previous show, how if there was a compromise to be made, I think keeping the logo and the colors, but changing the name to the Washington Americans. Boy, you got a Native American.
I still like that idea, but I haven't heard it out there in the Twitter world, and so I don't know, man. But I love that idea. I wish somebody would come up with it who has some meaning.
There was an article, a couple articles out one that I read that was ranking how offensive each particular team name was out there, and they actually had the Cleveland Indians as the worst. We have a final.
Yeah, it was final. So the St. Louis Cardinals win Game 4 of the freaking remote playoffs. Yeah. Gosh dang it. And so they're up 3-1, and they beat them 4-2. So shout out to all you St. Louis Cardinal fans. Really looking good for you. And today, Boston beat Detroit in Game 3. So Boston is actually up 2-1 in that American League Series. So looking good. Baseball coming down.
All right. So there you go. And on the controversy there with the Washington team, it's there's a lot of people feel a lot of ways on this, but I don't think the issue's going away. It's something that college sports addressed. The NCAA actually made it so no team, I can't remember what year they did this, but no team with a Native American mascot could participate in its playoffs. They said, you can keep your name if you want. You ain't playing in our playoffs. Right. And, maybe it's time for the NFL to do this if Dan Snyder, who the owner of the Redskins, seems he's not going to ever.
Snyder's proven he's not going to do it.
Yeah.
He is not going to do it. They are going to have to force him to do it, or it's just the way it is. I'm starting to think he actually likes it.
Yeah.
To him, this is his team in the news.
Yeah.
And one thing it's doing this year is it's masking the awful, sucky play that the Washington Redskins are actually putting up this year.
There
if
you
look at RG3, he's one of the worst quarterbacks in the league this year. And we're not hearing anything about it because of this name change thing is so popular.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to take a little break here again, and when we come back, we'll update you on the 420 Football League. So stick around. You're listening to Thrasher Sports.
I'm a reefer smoking man.
Wood Pipe Smoke Shop and Speakeasy is your source for cannabis community gear in southern Wisconsin. Owners Brian and Tammy Wood are located in Kendall, just outside of Madison, and they've got everything for the smoking enthusiast, including a full assortment of pipes, water pipes, hookahs, bubblers, one-hitters, and so much more. They're open noon to 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday and can help you with your detoxification therapies as well. Call 608-466-7473 or email woodpipes@yahoo.com for more information. That's 608-466-7473 or email woodpipes@yahoo.com. And as always, go Pack Go.
Smoking man.
Thrasher Sports.
Scorpion Child right there, I hear.
That's right.
Right on, those guys on Nuclear Blast Records. Breaking Texas, there you go. Texas band. Doing really good things these days. Scorpion Child.
Cut like that. Sorry about that. Sorry, Scorpion Child.
Russ, I was looking at this before we get to the fantasy football. I was looking at the NFL schedule real quick. And I was looking at the Monday night game, and can you imagine... We're talking about a 1-4 or 1-5 Minnesota Vikings against a 0-6 New York Giants.
Yeah, I'm sure ESPN is thrilled to have drawn that one.
Boy, did they freaking plan that one real well, didn't they?
Yeah. All right, well, I guess I have to root for the Giants to win so the Vikings lose, but really I don't care.
You really don't. I mean, you don't have to worry about the Vikings. Packers have Cleveland. Cleveland at Green Bay.
Cleveland's going to give us a game.
I like Cleveland. I like what Cleveland's doing, actually, and I wouldn't be surprised if Cleveland and Cincinnati fight it out to win that division, because Pittsburgh and Baltimore really have shown me nothing this year.
Yeah, Baltimore's really fallen off. Of course, they lost a lot of starters.
Well, Pittsburgh, too, they don't have anyone.
Yeah.
They got Ben, and that's about it.
Yeah, and not seen much from them. So, yeah, you've got a point there as far as that goes.
So, big-time stuff. You got New England at the Jets. Jets had that big Monday night win, and then they just tanked last weekend.
Yeah.
And so New England coming off that big win that Russ and I just talked about. So looking forward to that. See what's up. Actually, you know what's a pretty good game? And you know what to think about it? Cincinnati versus Detroit.
Detroit's sitting at 4-2.
And
tied
Cincinnati is too.
And I gotta cheer for Cincinnati in that one to help the Packers out.
That's actually a big game right there. The winner of that game is going to be looking good for playoffs.
Absolutely.
So, anyways, there's a few games that's looking kind of good. The rest of the schedule, not so much. Nothing really to speak about. Dallas, Philadelphia, maybe. Romo coming off a huge loss.
And Nick Foles.
I'm not sure, though. I haven't heard if Vic, because I can't imagine, but maybe you can, but I can't imagine taking Vic's job from him now because he got hurt. So I'm expecting if Vic is back, he's going to be back.
All right. Winding things up here with our 420 Radio Fantasy Football League. And updating our standings, we have only one undefeated team remaining, the Purple Kush Punishers, sitting at 6-0, and a whole bunch of teams behind them fighting them out at, are you ready? 4-2-0.
Wow.
Bunch of 420 teams here in week 6.
Purple Kush looking good. Shout out to you.
7 of them, including the Iowa Brickballers with our own Lively Libra, and the Rip City Tumors with Brian the Red, and Indica Ninjas, that's Anthony Johnson's team, all sitting at 4-2. We've got Emerald Tide has risen in the rankings 2 spots to number 16, tied with Rolla J at 2-4. And the Pigskin Potheads tied for the worst record in the league, 1-5, with Riley Cooper's Klux Klan and the Bull Raiders.
Well, I think everyone's still in it for playoffs. I don't know about getting first place, but to make the playoffs, I think everyone's kind of still in it.
Looked like it had a good game for Emerald Tide, beating Bull Raiders 167 to 131. Nick Foles gave you 57 points at quarterback, with LaFell, the wide receiver from Carolina, giving you another 22. 33 points off your Rams defense.
I know. They were getting some interceptions. And who were they playing again? Does it say?
It was Houston.
That's right. So it was Schaub, and it was that guy you talked
pick
about.
Six.
They got that pick six. But the guy I was playing, what was his name? Bull Raiders.
Yeah.
He had some major points on the bench.
Yeah, he had a running back and a wide receiver that both had bye weeks, so got 0 points out of them.
You got to change those players out, folks.
Gotta change
the
them up.
computer's not going to change them for you. You've got to change them.
That's right. And I, with Pigskin Potheads, lost a game. Not a bad performance, 101 to 127. But tight end Fred Davis for the Washington team got 0 points. And my Joseph, my defensive back, got 0 points. So I had two players with 0, another player with .27, Aqib Talib. Against Cam Newton, who ended up putting up 56 points at the quarterback spot. Brandon Whedon did okay for me, 44 points.
Yeah, Whedon did great. He had a great game. We mentioned Cleveland's doing real good.
And Marshawn Lynch at running back gave me 31 points. But unfortunately, left Brandon Tate on the bench with 10 points. I left Vontaze Burfict on the bench with 11 points. And now I've got a few players that are off suspension. Lavon Brazil is now available. Blackman, the wide receiver from Jacksonville.
You got to get him in.
I got to get him in. He had 33 points.
Yeah, you got to get him in. He's one of the few players Jacksonville's got.
Yeah, the only player. So that's the standings in our fantasy football league. And let's see, our lowest performing player, our team was the Patriots, followed by Little Lebowski Urban Achievers and Kansas City Chiefin, all with below 100 points this week.
All right, so looking forward. I'm hopefully going to have a 2-game win streak. I haven't really looked at the matchups yet, but looking forward to see what this week has in store.
All right. Well, there you have it. That's what we got for Thrasher Sports this week. We're here every Tuesday night for, about 40 minutes, 45 minutes. We'll see what turns up. We also want to thank y'all for tuning in and enjoying the music.
Appreciate you guys supporting us. Keep them loaded, guys.
Check us out Friday night, Urb Thrasher Flower Hour. We'll be back.
420radio.org.